BFM 89.9. Good morning, I'm Nadia Hassan and I'm bringing to you your morning headlines. So today basically is all about the crisis or non-crisis as the case may be in Terengganu. So for all of those of you who haven't been following the news, former Terengganu Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Ahmad who actually quit UMNO on Monday, has actually come back, and that's what you see in basically The Sun. The Sun actually takes a very neutral view on it. I will go into what the other papers actually take, but basically they talk about the crisis being resolved. He quit a couple of days ago, apparently over a misunderstanding about his daughter's wedding. PM Najib apparently thought it was over. It wasn't, and because of that he actually left. And they said that he actually went to PM Najib, spoke between them and just basically cleared the air and had an understanding. So and the announcement came about 6 hours though after Najib met with the new MB, Dato' Ahmad Abdul Rahman, and a couple of the others. So it's very unclear actually in the future what's actually going to happen. Now, you know, you have the old guy who comes back, you have the new guy already installed, and it makes you wonder also about whether there's more going on behind the curtain, which I'm probably sure is actually going to come up probably in the next few days. Malay Mail, however, takes a bit more of a critical view on it. Pride and Marriage, an immature Terengganu drama, says analysts. So they actually quote these political analysts, in particular University Malaya Law lecturer Dato' Azmi Sharom, talking about how it was actually quite immature, and they were actually praising PAS in the same sentence as you can see here. So basically in a hastily convened press conference in the hometown, Ahmad Said said that it was due again to a misunderstanding. Najib had mistakenly thought the wedding, taken place at the official residence of Terengganu Menteri Besar, would have been over by last Saturday, not knowing there was actually another one slated for Saturday. So because of that, he basically took his ball and went home, as the case would be. So the University Malaya Law lecturer Dr. Azmi actually was saying that, look, it's ridiculous, in quotes, that a politician would consider pride of a wedding to be more important than politics. He actually quotes the example of Winston Churchill saying that started his career in the Conservative Party, moved to Liberal but returned to Conservative, but because of his principles and his policies, and not in his words, immaturity or ego. But regardless, it's given a nice little chance for them, for Malay Mail, to have this magnificently huge picture of all of them basically cheering and holding hands. It almost makes you want to break into a chorus of reunited and it feels so good. Reunited because we understood. Sing along. So basically that is actually what happened, and you can see all happy smiles all around. Back to the fold is how Star actually puts it. One with a more crowded picture, not so happy holding hands, basically telling the same thing. Actually all of them take a slightly more neutral approach on it. Malay Mail is the one who criticized quite a bit. U-turn in Terengganu is what New Straits Times is going with, saying that, you know, after the whole little wounded ego thing was over, it's basically he's back. But again, if he's back, what is his role? What is going to happen? That is going to be more of the questions and developments that are going to take place. Sinar goes with drama berakhir, but I have a very weird feeling that the drama is actually just simply going to continue. Berita Harian goes on the same vein, but we are actually going to use that as the word of the day. Kembali bertaut. Taut apparently is defined as being close, being close-knit, being back together. Hey, let's all hold hands. So that's our word of the day. Well, that of course takes up the bulk of the headlines along with pictures. There's a couple of other little stories that also kind of caught my attention. The one which I think has caused a lot of uproar is basically 2 nuns assaulted, and according to the story, one nun is fighting for her life while another is seriously injured. This is an attack that actually happened outside the church. According to the stories, it was due to a snatch theft, and because of that these 2 very ladies were hurt, as you can see, and it actually took place from the Holy Infant Jesus Convent outside the Church of Visitation yesterday around 6 a.m. It's a very, very disheartening story, especially since it makes you question about the security of the country, you know, what's going to happen now. You hope that the investigation will eventually yield some results. Looking at NST, while we're talking about it, they also mentioned hundreds dead in Turkish mine disaster. This definitely will not be the first. This actually happens as long as people continue going on, because mining is extremely dangerous in that respect. I think there'll be more calls for better working conditions. Definitely it happens after this kind of spark. The other stuff which is interesting, including Najib talking about real-time tracking of aircraft long due, which is finally what people want after in the wake of MH370. It's no surprise that they want to actually learn and do aviation lessons. Hopefully this kind of tragedy can be averted. 2 months on, they still haven't found it. The water issue also continues to bite, talking about Selangor water plants are actually not able to treat metals. This was an NST story that they broke, saying that if you took water from mining, whether it would actually be safe to be used. And in fact, talking about the water crisis, the Edge Financial Daily actually talks about how the Economic Council is now stepping in to resolve the water issue. And it's gotten to the point where the concessionaires and the government just can't seem to get along, or at least they haven't been getting along for the past few years. And now the EC, or the Economic Council, has to step in and actually do their final say on it. In fact, the government can invoke wasia, which actually is a forcible takeover of assets, but they seem to be one step short of actually doing it, and you wonder what kind of maneuvering is going on behind the scenes. The story in here does point out that those concessionaires are aligned to Barisan National Coalition. It mentions Puncak Niaga, which is 41% controlled by Tan Sri Rosali Ismail, known to be close to UMNO. Wan Azmi, controls Splash, is also said was one time the close associate of former Finance Minister Tun Daim Zainuddin. So this is another issue that will definitely continue to brew behind the scenes. I did like the front top bar of The Sun. Justin Bieber was accused of attempted robbery. It's always interesting when rich celebrities apparently try to rob people because, hey, they're rich celebrities. Why would they need to rob them? Apparently, he had tried to snatch a young woman's mobile telephone. He's already in very, very big trouble for some of the other things, just so that you know. But basically, we don't know what's actually going to happen to him. But yeah, it's a little thing story for Reuters. And as for our perennial favorite, Harian Metro, as you can see, they have a big wraparound cover with a big purple kitty on it called Cax, who is apparently your BFF, best friends for life, for those of you who don't know. It's of course an ad, and it's an ad for Cellcom. But of course, when you get into it, you wonder whether the headline inside is any kind of like better. Aku Ketua Wali is the big picture on the question. Basically, this Bomo apparently can call the angels. For what, I don't really know. Stock tips, maybe? But, you know, he's actually done that, and this guy is actually collecting around 950 from his followers. So I don't know whether the angels are interested in material things, but clearly something is not right in this area. That's all for me. I'm Nadia Hassan, and that has been your morning headlines for BFM 89.9.